So I'm joined yet again, a long time guest of the channel, Ray Hawthorne. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Back at it.
Back at it. So this is pretty much just kind of more of a laid back. I don't even have questions prepared for this, but this is more of like a laid back, just catching up, what you've
Yeah,
been up to, because you have been up to a lot, and like
it's true.
it's surprising, honestly. This was not something I was expecting going into, let's just say 2024.
Yeah,
Just randomly, I open Instagram one day and I see Ray Hawthorne posted a video, and I'm like, "Oh, cool! North Kingsley just released something
yeah.
new."
North Kingsley
And then
just
it's
dropped.
something that's something solo, and it sounds so much different.
Yeah.
How did any of this start? Where does
So,
this date back to?
so that first song that came out, I probably recorded it. I've been sitting on that for probably like a year.
Wow,
And then yeah, yeah. So I wrote like a handful of songs on the first EP that I came out with. The tracks like 2 through 5 are songs that I wrote like a year beforehand, and the original plan was to make them North Kingsley songs
I
because
see.
we did a North Kingsley full length. It's like really cool, and it sounds so different than anything we've done before. It's a lot more rock, like there's a lot more singing on it and stuff.
Yeah,
And those songs that I came out with were songs that I was gonna put on that album. And if I did, they wouldn't. I'm not saying like that's what they would have sounded like. If they ended up becoming North Kingsley songs, they would have sounded completely different. They would
right.
have been a lot more like experimental and stuff. But that was like the starting phase of them, because when we write, it's like it's a lot of back and forth, a lot of changes get made. It's like,
Yeah,
I'll do a part, Shava will do something to it, and then Sarah will do something to that, and then it's like back in my court and I change it again. Like it just keeps getting changed over and over and over. But anyway, those songs that I wrote, specifically, so Emergency was the first one that I released. I just felt like they went probably a little too far to be North Kingsley songs. So they're still like sort of in that lane, but not. Um, and I had so much fun doing it that I wanted to like explore that further. So once I finished up those like 4 songs, I was like, I think this is a really cool project. And then I just spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I should do with it and how I should go about releasing it. So that took a while. Like that's why it's like a year old. Not to mention we were working on wrapping up the North Kingsley album like at the same time. So it was just like
right.
a whole lot of work. Um, but then so the track that I have the like Ryan Gosling music video for, like by the
Yeah.
time I did that, I was in the headspace very clear that like this was not a song I was going to present to North Kingsley, right? Like it just could
Oh
never
yeah.
be. It's just it would be
All the serious political stuff, and then
yeah,
I'm
like
not Ryan Gosling.
yeah, exactly. Like it just could never be. Like it would never fucking work as a North Kingsley song. But I really loved the way that it turned out because I've always really loved music like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, fuck it, man. Like I'm just gonna keep going further and further with this and seeing how far I could take it. And to be honest, like it's kind of blowing me away. The reception to it. Like I'm up to like close to 50,000 monthly listeners
I
on
was gonna
Spotify
mention,
now.
I was gonna mention exactly that. I was checking how many listeners, and
Yeah.
50K, dude. Like,
So I never in a million years, like I really just thought it was just going to be some like small thing that I was putting out for fun, like in between waiting
yeah,
for the North Kingsley full length to drop. But at this point, I'm just like, this is working surprisingly well.
yeah.
Um, and so I'm just going to keep going as much as I can. And I mean, I'm putting out songs at
Do you
least
have
every
any
two.
idea why like it's getting so much
I don't
attention?
know, man. I think so the first song that I put out had Kellen Quinn from Sleeping with Sirens on it.
Right.
And so that showed up on his Spotify too, which has uh like 700K monthly
Oh
listeners.
yeah, yeah,
So right there I knew I was going to get a bump from people, and that's sort of why that was the first song, right? Like I was like that'll at least bring people looking.
yeah.
And then when I put out the music videos for that one and for the Ryan Gosling one, I did a lot of like specifically targeted YouTube ads for like similar sounding stuff, right?
Oh,
So
I see.
the Ryan Gosling one is like so pop punky, and it's like, so I would put it like, run this before a person who's gonna watch like a Blink 182 video.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
like a Fall Out Boy video or something like
Right.
that. Um, and once I did that, I ended up seeing like a pretty big uptick in the Spotify listeners. And I've just been, I think, putting out so much consistent music that's like still in that style that
Yeah.
now I'm seeing a pretty big bump from Spotify's like algorithmic playlists. So they're like Discover Weekly and Release Radar and stuff. Something like 70% of my streams come from just Spotify like pushing it out to people that they think are going to like it.
Right.
Um, and that keeps snowballing. So I don't know, man. I'm pretty amped on it. Like it's really, really exciting. And then I
But
think
the
I got,
surprising thing to me, just to for a sec to say
yeah,
something more about like the numbers, pretty much, it surprises me so much. Emergency is with like Kelly Quinn, and I would assume that would be the most streamed song, but at this point,
me
it's
too.
already. I was like, that's gonna be the most streamed song, and then the next one is probably. Well, I'm sorry to say this, man, but the next one is probably gonna be like gonna bomb,
No,
and
I
then
agree.
it
That's
explodes even
exactly
more.
what I thought was going to happen. I totally thought it was
And
going
I
to
love
bomb.
it, man. I love
But
it.
that, yeah, like that's the biggest one I had. That Heartbreak Feels Good in a Place Like This is the biggest track I have. Like it's close to 100K streams now, which is like almost double the one with Kellen Quinn.
Right.
So it's like really, it's, trust me, man, I am more surprised than anyone about it.
And then, like what's it called again? All my happy friends tell me I'm depressed. That one has
Yeah,
more streams as well than Emergency.
it does. It does. And that one actually, on like a daily basis gets more streams than Heartbreak at this point. So I think like over time that might pass that one, which is really surprising to me because I don't think that one's nearly as like catchy. You know,
I see.
I just think it's like I really love the song and I like the lyrics of that song a lot, but I didn't really expect it to be like super well received or anything,
Yeah. I
you
think
know?
it's do you think also the title comes into play? Because I think that's just a fucking hilarious, awesome
Probably.
title.
Yeah. I would hope so, you know. I think yeah, I think so. Like I'm trying very hard with the branding of everything to just keep it
Right.
like light and fun, even with like all the album artworks, all like Muppets and shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's just um I'm trying to keep it like a very similar brand. Although the song that I just released is very different. It's like an almost an 80s style sound.
I loved it.
Uh
I was gonna mention I like the synth and everything and how it's very different from
yeah.
yeah, the other songs, but I really like that one. In
So
a
yeah, I
way,
don't, what
I
were you
don't know
saying?
if you listen to the last Blink album, but
Of
there's
course.
the song uh what is it called again? Like Blink Wave, I think, which is
Oh yeah.
also randomly like more poppy and like with synthesizers and stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that song for some reason, even though what's your new song called again? I'm sorry again or
Yeah,
something?
it's called I'm Sorry Again. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, even though that one is way different than Blink Wave, for some reason, when I first listened to it, just today actually, I was like, oh, this reminds me of that song, just because,
Yeah.
pop punk musician, I guess at this point.
That
And
makes
it's with
sense.
synthesizers.
Yeah. And like I don't know how well necessarily that one's gonna do compared to, because I feel like anyone at this point that's listening to me is probably more into the other stuff.
Right.
But like at the end of this week, I have another one coming out that's like a lot heavy. I'm like screaming on the chorus and stuff. You know what I
Oh,
mean? So it's
sick.
like heavier and but still like it's still in that like pop punk lane. And then I've got like a bunch of other songs coming out this or like three other songs coming out this month. Um,
Nice.
and I'm just
You're
gonna
killing it, man.
all through, that's the goal, man. Like at this point, with the way I see the Spotify like algorithm pushing it, I'm just like, well, I just got to keep dropping songs then,
Yeah.
and just see how far I can push it, you know. And the
Yeah.
interesting thing is, so many of my listens come from Germany, man. Like
I,
there's a huge German
dude,
fan
come
base.
over, man. Do the
I've legitimately thought about it. It's like, especially for Heartbreak, the one that does the best, like that is insanely, like it's insanely German. Like I can look at my Spotify right now. I'll tell you the top
Oh yeah,
cities.
yeah. Cool.
It's like all Germany, dude.
It's hilarious. That's
Uh,
surprising too.
yeah, let me try to see. Top cities: Berlin, Hamburg, Munich. Vienna, Austria, and then Frankfurt and Maine. Top five.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah. And then it's like top countries, it's like United States is number one, but Germany is number two, like right behind it,
That's
you know?
crazy.
So something about, and you know what I think it was when I ran those ads on that music video? So many of them went out to Germany for whatever reason. Or you know, I guess German people were the ones that like stuck around to watch the ad, you know?
Right.
Um, and it's fuck, man. I don't know. It's blowing my mind, but I'm with it. I will tour Germany in a heartbeat.
Nice. Yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
there, man. I mean, for me, Germany is like a 2 hour drive, but I'd do it.
Yeah,
That's not
yeah,
me.
yeah. That's awesome, man.
So like, so you kind of already touched on it now, but it's kind of popping off at the moment with
Yeah.
the algorithm and everything, and you kind of just want to keep it going for now. But do you have any like long-term plans? Do you even have any plans for even performing live at all? Like maybe where you're at?
So I was looking at there's a cool venue around here called The Shed that I was looking at doing a show at that was just like really just to get video content of it. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
Because they
yeah,
it couldn't even hold more than like a couple hundred people. And I
right.
don't know honestly, like the Spotify numbers are great, but I don't know that I could get a couple hundred people like
Yeah,
out to
that's
a venue.
that's
You know
always
what I
a
mean?
tricky part.
Yeah, like that's a totally different thing. But it could be cool to get the video content on. I'm in a point right now though where it's like getting the actual live band together for it because I'm just working with like different music producers at this point to be able to put out the sheer amount of music that I'm recording. Like
Yeah,
I'm working with like three or four different people. Like my friend Nick, who like lives in Greece, does a lot of the music for a lot of stuff, and it's uh it's just a lot to do. So the actual live band that I would have to put together is kind of like a whole process,
right.
because I
Yeah,
wouldn't just want to get like rented musicians essentially to do
yeah,
it. But the way I look at it is if everything keeps going as well as it is through the rest of the, because who knows, man, we could look back on this interview next year and be like, yeah, that dude really fucking bombed. Like it didn't,
man. I hope not, dude. I
it
always
did,
it keeps going this way and goes even crazier, honestly.
yeah, dude, I would love it. Right. But so at this point, if I can like grow or at least maintain what I'm doing now, right? Like that's really what I'm looking at is I'm trying to like grow or at least maintain. Um, I should be able to hop on a tour like by the end of the year or early next year. That would be the ultimate goal,
Right.
And then also not to mention it's like the fact that I'm working with a lot of different music producers on it, like, and I don't necessarily have a band. It's like I don't really have to worry about splitting revenue like a lot of ways. So even
Oh yeah.
that's a cool thing. You know what I mean? So like when you look at other like independent musicians, it's like sometimes you have a band of like five or six people and they're just like really scraping to get by because they have to cut everything like five different ways. Um, but it's like a really exciting prospect for this that I don't necessarily have to go through that full process.
Right.
Um, so I think the reason I bring that up is I think it's reasonable to get on the road by the end of the year because like all that costs money, you know what I mean? It's like even just touring and whatever, and it's like a lot of first tours you're lucky to even break even on the shit.
Oh yeah.
Um so I should at least be able to get on the road, and who the fuck knows, man, I might just come out to maybe I'll just live in Germany now.
Yeah. So, but on the other hand, touring, of course, also brings a lot of new ears. You know,
Of course.
people would start listening. You could start having tour merch, just regular
Yeah.
merch. I don't know. You could release some vinyl, like some compilation vinyl of all the singles you've done so far.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the sky's the limit, really, at this point, it seems.
I think at the end of the year, I'm gonna take stock of what were the best performing singles and like collect them into an album and then add like a couple new songs as well. So it's not just like a
Yeah.
fucking greatest hits thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, put some new songs on and then really try to maybe I'll press it vinyl and I'll do all that. Assuming everything goes to plan. Uh, but yeah, maybe like I don't know, like November, maybe I'll put that out. I'll just call it like 2024. Like this
Right.
is my thing. And then I'll do the same thing next year. Um, assuming it all goes well. That's my main thing. That's the thing is it's like I love talking about this, but at the same time I'm just like,
It's
fuck man, like
scary.
it's the whole thing is like stressful on another level.
Fuck,
Like
man.
I
I'm stressing
remember
about it.
yeah, like I remember before I was gearing when I was gearing up to drop everything, I was so stressed. I was like, no one's gonna care. I was like, anyone who gives a shit about me, like, only gives a shit because of North Kingsley, and this is so far further than North Kingsley. Like, this
Yeah,
is not what people are expecting from me at all. And I was just so stressed about it. And when it came out and it started to do well and like gain traction, like I was pumped when it was like I had like 5,000 monthly listeners. I was like, no fucking way. Like,
right.
that's great. I don't know 5,000 people. Like, that's cool that that's happening, you know?
Dude, now it's 50 almost.
Yeah, like so it's really it now I'm just stressed in like a different way. It's like it feels like it's
Yeah,
going well, but now I'm like, can I maintain this? Is this just like some weird is it a glitch in the Spotify algorithm? You
right.
know, like are they just gonna realize that like my
Sucks.
music's shitty and stop pushing it to people? You know, like I'm
Right,
just stressed in a totally different way, but doing everything I can to just like maintain it and keep going.
right. And so you mentioned this really started because you were waiting for like new stuff of North Kingsley.
Yeah.
How is it going with North Kingsley? Because we have not heard anything for
Yeah.
so long.
It's radio
And
silence on North
didn't
Kingsley.
Chavo like announce some other new?
Yeah, so yeah, he's got another project that's fucking awesome, by the way. Like I've heard the stuff from it, and I think it's gonna do really well for him because it's a way
Oh,
more
nice.
like
More like System of
metalcore.
a Down.
More like it's not like System of a Down in the sense that System of a Down has such like a
Oh, fuck, like specific.
yeah, like unique
Nothing is
specific
like
sound.
System of a
Yeah,
Down.
that's what I'm saying. Like they're so and not to say that his new project isn't unique, it definitely is. But it's not like that System of a Down sound.
Yeah,
This one's a
yeah.
lot more like really really tight drums, like metalcore, deathcore kind of thing. Especially because like Taylor from Left to Suffer is in it, and Alejandro, I forget his last name. He was on American Idol. Is like a dope singer and like a really dope guitar player.
Damn.
Um, I've heard the stuff. It's awesome, and I really think it's going to do well just because even like when you push North Kingsley to an audience of essentially System of a Down fans, they're just like, this is not System of a Down. Like this
Yeah,
isn't even really like metal like I want. You know what I mean?
right.
But the shit that he's coming out with now is like super, super metal. But anyway, so like the things that I was working on and the things that he was working on, we were doing at the same time because there was so much of a lull with getting the North Kingsley full length ready. And we both just sort of like fell into different stuff because we had finished recording it, but mixing it was proving to be like a little bit of an issue because we're doing so much weird shit sonically that we would get mixes back and they would just be like, we can't actually mix this. Like you can't have like a sub bass and like a real live bass going at the same time. We can't hear, but like just a whole bunch of shit. So like we were just dealing with that. And
Right.
then a whole thing happened where I think I told you about this. Like a whole thing happened where we scrapped like 90% of the electronic drums and we went and tracked live drums on the whole
Oh,
album.
yeah.
We can't say who did the drums, but like
Yeah.
it's fucking cool and it sounds good. Um I can send you the North Kingsley album. I don't really give a shit. You can listen to it if you want.
Dude, fuck
It's
yeah, man.
yeah, like it's cool, man. Like it's some really cool shit and I think people are really gonna like it. But we still don't even necessarily know when or how we're gonna drop it because it went through so many changes and such a process. And then also like I'm doing this thing, Shava's doing the other thing. So me and him were talking about it the other day, and like we were just talking about where it is as far as like mastering and everything.
Yeah.
And we still don't have like a solid release date for it. But all I know is like when it comes out, I think people are really gonna dig it.
Right.
That's
Because
that's
like,
about it, you know?
I don't that's why I just wanted you to explain it, but I'm
Yeah,
one of those people. I always hope for the best but prepare for the worst. So I was
yeah,
like thinking, well, this is just some fun side project from Ray. But on the other hand, I was also thinking like, Shavo just announced another project. We
yeah.
haven't heard anything from North Kings. Like, is this project just dead? Like, what is
Yeah, it
going
looks
on? Has there been like
I
a
could see
falling
how it
off
would
or
look that way.
something?
I could totally see how it would look that way, but no, that's not the case. Like, we all still talk all the
Well,
time, and
that's good to hear.
yeah, and hang out and stuff. And like I said, the album is sick. And I'm
Nice.
really, really excited for it. But now I'm in this weird position where it's like I feel like the people like whoever's listening to me now with my solo stuff probably isn't even really aware of North Kingsley. And
Right.
then so like if I were to put out the North Kingsley album, they'd be like, "What the fuck happened to this guy?" You know what I mean? Like, what is this guy
Oh
doing? Like,
no,
I
no.
put a
I'm gonna remove all his songs from my playlist.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Because it's
Don't
like
ever
anything I'm
step
doing
foot in
now,
Germany.
yeah, anything I'm doing now is so far from political. You know what I mean? But North
Oh
Kingsley
yeah.
is such like a social and political thing. Like that's such a part of the project. And
Dude,
on the new album,
is anything from the album even relevant anymore? Is it like Trump is about to be
you know what's
elected? It's 2016, yo.
that's
I
what's
don't
fucked
fucking
up is
know.
there's a song on the album that's one of like the first songs we ever made. It's called Kids Love Guns. And bro, there's a reference to like the 2016 the presidential election on that shit. And
Dude, I
like
fucking called it.
yeah, like there's a reference to the 2016 presidential election. And I remember when we went to mix it and because it's not the same version of it, right? Like we have worked on it over and over and over and changed it and updated it. But like when we went to decide that we actually were going to put that on this album, I went in and I changed a line specifically because there was a line about the president at the time who is no longer the president anymore. And like now I'm like, is this shit even going to come out before, like it could be a fucking different president now
Yeah,
when the album comes out. So I'm like,
right,
was it even worth changing the line? Like who the fuck knows, man?
right.
But yeah, no, that's true. On one song in particular, that's true. And I think
That's
about
funny.
that shit sometimes. I
Right.
totally think about that shit sometimes, man.
Well, but I feel like the lyrics, for example, in volume one and two, they're pretty subtle.
Yeah,
And when you think of, for example, System of a Down, like there are a lot of political songs that are still relevant today, you know?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
for example, Prison Song, I mean, it does have literal statistics in it, but the statistics
yeah.
have probably gotten worse at this point. So
Yeah,
like this
exactly.
song,
That's probably the only thing that's not relevant anymore is the statistics are different.
exactly. Yeah. Which
Yeah.
kind of just proves the point and shows that it may be getting worse in certain songs, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I would hope that with the North Kingsley songs that some of them like remain relevant years later. Like
Right.
you can only hope that, you know.
Yeah, of course.
And especially with the full length that we did, I tried a little bit to move away from so much political stuff, but we can't just like fully abandon that because that's sort of like the
Right.
DNA of the group, right? So it's like I tried to be a little bit more um I guess you were saying it's subtle already, but I try to be a little bit more subtle about it while still having it there. But like something like a song like "Kids Love Guns" is like really overtly political. Like it's just
Right. I mean, the
a whole.
title
You could
alone
just
says enough.
yeah, you could tell from the title, like it is like really over the top political. So, but some of them aren't. You know, there's clips up online of some of the songs where it's like one of them's called "Relapse," which is just like my own struggles with like sobriety and stuff like that, and then smoke signals isn't like overtly political. There's some stuff on there that's not like super overtly political, but it's still like heavy and cool. I think if people like North Kingsley in the first place, they would like the album, I would hope.
Right.
Even though it is so different. I tried to rap like a ton less. That goes back to like even with the project that I'm doing now, I had this like weird complex where I was like, I think people really just think I'm a rapper. And
Oh yeah.
that was never my goal, right? Like even from the time I was a kid, I never wanted to be a rapper, and I only ever started rapping as a joke. So like
All
having like
right.
the
Yeah,
most
you mentioned that at some
successful
point.
thing, yeah, like having the most successful thing I'd ever done be just me like rapping a bunch. I was like, fuck, man, like people just think I'm a rapper, which is
Right.
cool. Like I love hip hop, but I think part of me doing the other project was just like I need people to know that that's not all I do, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it's shit, man. It's working out so far.
Yeah, cool, man. I really can't wait to see where it goes. I think if you just keep on pushing it now, keep on
Yeah.
pumping singles out now, then try to keep on riding that wave, let's just say.
That's really the plan, man. It's just like constant music release. I feel like I'm recording music all the time. Like I have a track I'm gonna record after we finish this interview.
Nice.
Um and it's like it's not like I put out every song I record, like I like to just let's say I do, 6 in a week, like maybe one of them ends up being something that I'm like, all right, I think this is good enough to
Yeah.
come out. Um so yeah, I'm just like working my ass off on it right now.
Cool, man. Oh, can't wait to see where that goes. And
Yeah.
for anyone interested, definitely go check it out on Spotify or wherever the hell you are streaming your
Yeah.
music. Definitely
It's
check
on
out the
every
music videos
platform.
as well.
Yeah, yeah. The Ryan Gosling music video is my favorite music video I've ever done. So I hope
Yeah,
people
that was
like it.
fun. That was fun. A lot of
It was
references.
yeah,
Really
it was a
is
real good time.
yeah, absolutely. All right, thanks so much for coming out, man. And thanks to everyone for watching. I'll see you guys next time. See ya.